Have you ever lived inside a silence so heavy it felt louder than words? A silence that follows every fight, every cruel remark, every broken promise, and yet no one ever says, "I'm sorry." Families who never apologize leave scars that don't fade. By the end of this video, you'll understand why that silence exists, how it secretly shapes your adult life, and the powerful shift that can finally break the cycle. In this video, you will learn the hidden psychology of families who never apologize, the emotional wounds this creates, and how to stop carrying pain that was never yours to begin with. If you find yourself in these words, subscribe and share this video because these truths aren't just yours, they belong to millions who've lived the same silence. Picture this. You're a child sitting in your room after a fight. Maybe your parent yelled too harshly, maybe a sibling mocked you, maybe you were humiliated in front of relatives. You wait for repair, you wait for the words that would make the pain lighter, but the next morning, everyone acts like nothing happened. Breakfast is served, conversations flow, and the wound is ignored. You learn quickly, in this family, apologies don't exist. That moment doesn't stay in childhood. It grows with you. As an adult, you replay arguments in your head, wondering if you were asking for too much. You feel guilty for wanting acknowledgement. You apologize too often in relationships, even when you're not wrong. And deep down, you carry a question that never leaves. Why was my pain invisible? Families who never apologize aren't just avoiding words. They're avoiding vulnerability. To say "I'm sorry" means admitting fault, lowering defenses, risking shame. For some, that feels unbearable. So they build walls of pride, silence, or denial. These walls protect them from guilt, but they leave you trapped in confusion. Underneath that silence is fear. Fear of weakness, fear of losing control, fear that admitting harm will unravel the fragile image they've built of themselves. And so, the apology dies before it's born. But here's the hidden truth. Their silence was never proof that your pain didn't matter. It was proof of their limits. Their inability to face discomfort became your burden. And when you grew up inside that silence, you learned to carry wounds without repair. This shows up everywhere in daily life. You hesitate to confront people because you expect silence in return. You overthink every conflict because you've been trained to believe resolution doesn't exist. You feel invisible in crowds, guilty for resting, anxious in relationships. You may even catch yourself apologizing for things that aren't your fault because you grew up believing silence was normal. Think about how this plays out in relationships. You might find yourself drawn to people who dismiss your feelings because that's familiar. You might stay quiet in arguments because you expect nothing will change. Or you might overcompensate, apologizing constantly, trying to keep peace at any cost. The silence of your family becomes the soundtrack of your adult life. Here's the shift. Their silence is not your failure, it's theirs. Their inability to apologize is not a reflection of your worth, but of their fear. And once you see this, the cycle begins to break. You stop waiting for words that will never come. You stop measuring your value by their silence. You start giving yourself the repair they couldn't. Pause for a moment. Think of the times you waited for an apology that never came. The slammed doors, the cruel jokes, the heavy silence. Those moments weren't erased by their denial. They became the blueprint your brain still follows today. But you can rewrite it. You can choose to see their silence not as proof that you were unworthy, but as evidence of their fear. And maybe, just maybe, the most powerful apology you'll ever receive is the one you give yourself. Because here's the dark truth. Families who never apologize teach you to doubt your pain. But here's the brighter truth. You can teach yourself to honor it. You can break the silence by naming what happened, by refusing to carry shame that was never yours, by giving yourself the words they couldn't. This doesn't mean excusing their behavior. It means reclaiming your power. It means saying, "I deserved repair. I deserved acknowledgement. I deserved love that didn't hide behind silence." And when you say that, you begin to heal. The silence of families who never apologize is heavy, but it doesn't have to define you. You can choose to speak, to name, to repair. You can choose to stop waiting for words that will never come. You can choose to give yourself the apology you've been waiting for all along. And here's the most important part. When you break this cycle, you don't just heal yourself, you change the future. You become the person who apologizes, who repairs, who teaches your children or your loved ones that silence is not the answer. You rewrite the script that was handed to you. So if this video spoke to you, subscribe and share it. Because silence is heavy, but stories like this lighten the weight. And the more we speak about the dark truth of families who never apologize, the more we remind each other. Our pain was real, our worth is undeniable, and our healing is possible.